you doing? Hope you're keeping well. You know what you're thinking? You're thinking 3 videos in 1 month after months of just doing 1 video a month. What's going on? Has he gone mad? Has he lost his job? No, I haven't lost my job. I've had a free weekend. Well, it's not entirely true. I have been DIYing this weekend. I have been laying a new concrete hearth, so fingers crossed that works, but means that I've got this afternoon free to do some sculpting and do some painting and to record a video, so that's what I'm going to do. Now I have been watching a few videos recently. You may be familiar with a video channel called Terranscapes. I came across them about 5-6 years ago. Amazing scenery videos, but I'd sort of fallen away from being in touch with that channel, and I rediscovered it a couple of weeks ago and watched a video that was put out 3 years ago now, that the chap's not going to be doing any more videos. He's finished with that project. Terranscapes is no more, so that was a bit sad, but it also made me think, watching their videos, that I'm not very good at doing the sort of the professional video bit. So we are going to do a video today. I want to start a new series on, well, it's not really a new series, it's a kind of Painter's Progress series, but looking at completed armies, because, well, I'll tell you in a minute. But before we get on to there, I should be prompting at the start of every video. I should be saying, like, subscribe and hit the alarm button, right? So that you get notifications when there are new videos. If I was being really professional about being on YouTube and all the rest of it, that's what I'd be doing. So do that, like this video, leave me a comment, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications button so that you know when there's a new video, and I will try and put videos out more frequently, and hopefully you'll know about them. Okay, good. Right, that's the first thing done. The second thing is, did you know that we did a Patreon this year? You may not have done. It was a little sort of under the radar thing, and here's my box. This year's Patreon rewards, this year's Patreon warband is ready to ship. In fact, a bunch of them have shipped, so they have got this little print here of the concept art that Christian Schwager did for us for this year. Photographs of the original sculpt and some thank yous, and then this lovely presentation box with some custom foam inserts, and ta-da, there we go. This is all done, cast up, ready to go, and I'll be painting that up for a video for Patreon next month. So that's done for this year. It was quite successful. We learned a few things along the way, but it's a nice little community, and there's some conversations going on the Patreon right now about what warband we're going to do for next year, because the thing is, we're going to be producing a warband, a set of figures every year that will be exclusive to Patreon backers, and we'll be going through the research phase, the design phase, the concept art, the sculpting, putting some rules together for the woods or factious waste or some other rule set, and then looking at sculpting them and moulding them and casting them, and painting them, and the packaging and the sort of marketing that would go into it from a sort of a business perspective. So it's a sort of a year's journey to getting a warband together, and we're right at the start now. The second year is going to kick off in January, so this is the time when we're deciding what warband is going to happen next year. Okay, so if you have any interest, pop over to our Patreon page. I'll put the link below, and get involved in that conversation. That conversation is open to everybody, so you don't have to be a backer to chip in. If there's something that you'd like to see, join the conversation and help shape the way that it goes. And maybe you'll want to join us on the journey as a Patreon next year. Well, that was it. Okay, right. That's the that's the professional marketing bit done. Now let's go back to the hobby video. I am doing a challenge this year, an army painting challenge, which is not an unusual thing. I've been doing it for the last 2, maybe 3 years. But what is different this year is that I didn't want to do a whole army. I have another army that I want to do. I have a Night Goblin army sat just over there that I want to get painted up, but I'm holding fire on that because I've got you may remember I did a video a little while ago saying, you know, I need to finish off stuff for my High Elves, I need to finish off stuff for my Skaven, I need to finish off stuff for my Orcs, I need to finish off stuff for my Barbarians. Well, help me, tell me where to go next. So I was delighted that a couple of guys from the Oldhammer community, they are doing a project this year which is an odds and sods challenge. So that they will put up a theme each month. So the first month of this challenge was rank and file, the second month was heroes, and the deal is that you have to pick a unit or some models that fit that criteria and paint them, but you can't do the same army consecutive months. So this is about sort of finishing off and adding elements to army. So this was perfect for me, and I've started and I've made a finish. So I've made a start. So I have finished now my Barbarians and I have finished my Orc army. And as we're in Orctober currently, I thought I should start off by showing you my now finished, yeah right, finished until I find something else that I want to add to it. For the moment, finished and painted now Orc army. So I'll cut in some still photos so that you can get a sense of them. Now this army, some of it you will have seen already because it was featured in the very first Painter's Progress video that I did, because a lot of this I painted for a mate's 40th birthday party battle several years ago, but there were a few bits that I added to it since. I managed to find a lot on eBay of the Bob Ollie Orcs from Fantasy Warlord, Fantasy Warlord or Fantasy Warrior? Fantasy Warlord, I think, that are currently available through SHQ miniatures. They're called Mountain Orcs, I believe. They're big chaps. They're kind of slightly ogre-y, in fact, in their size. But I found a bulk lot of those on eBay, so I thought I'd buy them up and add them to my contingent. So I had those to paint. I also had some Gyaks to add to my big unit of goblins. So there were a few things unpainted that I wanted to add into this army, so I've done that now. And the theme of this army is sort of Angus McBride style Lord of the Rings orcs. So I didn't want to go with the very Games Workshop-y looking orcs, although there are some of those. There are definitely some Games Workshop orcs in amongst the ranks, but I wanted to get that more sort of slightly Eastern, I guess, look. Which is where the kind of the sort of Mongolian looking hobgoblin types and the Gyaki types seem to fit a bit better into that, with the Ralpatha orcs, and these Bob Ollie mountain orcs are they're quite chunky. So I've got those. A lot of the smaller goblins, I've used the Games Workshop Lord of the Rings Moria goblins, but I've also used some Prince August cast your own orcs. I think they're orcs, they're quite small, but I think they're supposed to be orcs. But what I've done with those, with both the Lord of the Rings goblins and the Prince August orcs, is I've chopped the heads off and I've used formerly Wargames Factory. I think they might be sold by Warlord now. They're orc sprues. I've used the orc heads off those because they had the right kind of helmets, and I think that particularly with the Prince August cast your own miniatures that are let's face it, somewhat lacking in detail, that change of the heads really makes a difference. There's also some Denizen miniatures hiding in here. Denizen, they do some lovely, really tiny dwarves that I'm a big fan of, but they also do these kind of hobgoblin-y characters. Some of them are a bit hit than this, but I picked up one of each, and some of them are very nice sculpts, and I've gone with a kind of beigey, browny, earthy look to the skin rather than a green. But I wanted to have some degree of brightness to the costuming, so I've gone with this kind of pale green and slightly orangey red, and of course all of their shields and banners are black with red eyes or skulls or motifs on to sort of pick up on the kind of Mordor Orc theme. Apart from, of course, the Boris banner, which is the army banner, and I hope is a reference to things past, although yeah, you never know. The some members of the Conservative Party are enough arseholes to put him back in, I guess. So we hope that doesn't happen, but we'll have to see what they do. So I've been a bit sort of tongue-in-cheek with some of these. The banner bearer for the Bob Ollie Orcs is carrying a little banner with blood trickling down, saying "trickle down" on it, because of course you know, Orcs are greedy, self-centered, out for all they can get, so they're the perfect epitome of Conservative politicians. And of course in this army now we've got a couple of giant spiders as well, giant pale cave spiders. I did originally have in this army some some stone trolls, 4 stone trolls and 3 snotling pump wagons when I fielded this army at Dave's birthday bash. But I figured, well, I've got loads and loads and loads of snotlings, so the aim was always for those pump wagons to be with my snotlings and to have an entire army of snotlings at some point. But in actuality, the stone trolls I thought would fit better with the night goblins, so they've gone over to join my night goblin army when it's complete. Anything else I want to say? Oh, the doggies. So I want to have some wolf riders. So I've got a couple of large dogs. I think they're Ralpatha Europe wolves. In fact, yes, pretty sure they are from Ralpatha Europe. For the leader, and then the other dogs there are former oak-bound whist hounds that I'm hoping to get back into production sometime soon, but yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And I've painted those up as sort of Tibetan Mastiff style dogs, as that's what they were sculpted based on in the first place. And I thought that went hand in hand with the kind of steppe look to a lot of the goblins that are riding them. So yeah, that's army number 1 of my armies on parade, my Angus McBride Orcs, and it's an Orcs and Goblins army. If I was going to run it in 3rd or 4th or 5th or 6th, I can't imagine I would ever be playing 7th or 8th, but I'd probably run them as well. So the smaller units would be running as Goblins, I would imagine. That's what I did last time. The regular sort of sized Orcs running as Orcs, and then the Bob Ollie Mountain Orcs running as Black Orcs. But in terms of fluff-wise, they're all Orcs. They're just Orcs of different sizes and types, as you get in Tolkien literature. So there you go. That's army number 1. There'll be another army probably next month. I think I've probably got enough armies to last for a couple of months now, and it will be a good incentive for me to get on with the challenge and get the next things painted. So there you go, another video for October. Aren't you lucky? So do like and subscribe and hit the alarm button. There you go. I'm doing it. I'm not going to get boring about it though. I'm doing it. And check out the Patreon if you're interested in picking up a Patreon warband for next year. And if you like one of these Patreon warbands, then patrons who join for next year will have the option to pick up one of these as well. And join me again for the next video, which will probably be November's Vintage White Dwarf overview. So that'll come in a couple of weeks. Take care. See you then.